How's everybody doing? So I kind of got surprised to come up here, so I don't really have something prepared. But I just want to say, ILWU Local 10 has stood in solidarity with Palestine since '88, and just recently, Local 10 also has a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Palestine. So I just want to say we stand in solidarity, and one thing I'll leave is the reason why it's so important for us workers and to see this get shut down is because we stand by 10 guiding principles in the ILWU. And our fourth guiding principle is to help any worker in distress must be a daily guide in the life of every trade union and its individual members. Labor solidarity means just that. Unions have to accept the fact that the solidarity of labor stands above all else.
That's right.
Including even the so-called sanctity of a contract. We cannot adopt for ourselves the policies of union leaders who insist that because they have a contract, their members are compelled to perform work even behind a picket line. And lastly, the last part of this, the last sentence of this, which is the most important, which is every picket line must be respected as if it were our own. So I appreciate everybody here putting in the work, coming out and doing what you had to do. And it's a huge success that these companies cancel those jobs. So I want everybody to know, through this fight, those jobs got canceled because they didn't want to have to deal with some sort of conflict or something like that. So you guys are doing fantastic. I stand here with you guys, and ILWU Local 10 has constantly proved that they stand with y'all.
Get down! There's a workers' movement in this town! Get down! There's a workers' movement in this town!
My name is Roche, and I'm here today because we need to do everything we can to stop this war of annihilation that the Israelis are conducting against Palestinians. This is absolutely horrific and against all international laws, and I'm just absolutely baffled and shocked that our government is going along with this, going completely the wrong direction in the history, and history is going to come out, and we're going to ask what we did at this time, and if we want to look back on our lives and say that we didn't do anything, we're going to be ashamed, and I don't want to be in that position.
No more money for Israel's crimes.
The blocking of the boats, do you think that's going to have an effect today? The port was shut down, and a lot of ships did move today.
So I don't know what the effect will be, and I don't think it really matters from my standpoint as an individual. What really matters is that we do something, we do everything that we can, because really acting out as human beings and showing ourselves that we are here to do what we can. And yeah, I hope it does work, and I think what's important is sending this message every day consistently.
I'm a retired printer.
What's going on in Gaza?
I think it's genocide. It's genocide. It has to stop. We should not be part of it. We should not be funding it. We should not be giving them the bombs. No one should be doing this.
And now the United States is bombing Yemen?
Yes, right.
What do you think about that?
I think that it's escalating the U.S. war machine to, I think in the long run it will fail, and in the short run a lot of people will die. The climate crisis will worsen.
My name is James Birch, and I'm here to speak out against the U.S. policy decisions to support the genocide in Gaza or in Palestine as a whole, and also the recent decision to bomb Yemen.
And why do you think the United States is in Middle East?
That is a very long and complicated question, but there's certainly diplomatic and financial interests tied between the United States and Israel and have been for many decades now, and so we can see when there's a lot of popular interest in ceasefire, and yet our federal representatives are almost uniformly refusing to speak out. It's clear that there are diplomatic interests at play.
And this action today to shut down the port, do you think that will have some effect on the United States?
Everything we're doing has some effect, and we got to do everything we can, right? You know, these ships are bringing weapons to Israel, and we can't let that happen in our backyard.
I'm Padma Vinasitambi. I was an ex-UC Berkeley staff, and now I'm retired.
And there's an action today on the Port of Oakland. It's shut down. There are no longshore working. It's in protest against the attack on Gaza. What do you think is going to be the result, and what is happening here?
Well, today we are blocking these boats from sending more missiles and bombs to Israel against their crimes against humanity, which is horrific. It's been going on for way too long. I guess they're basically following our U.S. model of what we did to the natives of America. And similarly, the Israelis are trying to wipe out the natives of Palestine. And so many of their leaders have called out for ethnic cleansing. And thank God there is at least some movement at the International Criminal Justice Court to take them into account. And even though Europe and America are trying to sabotage that, and here we are in Oakland doing a small step in that regard. And this morning there was a lot of other people here at 5 a.m. and it was raining today, so it just shows how much motivation everybody has. Americans are not happy with what our leaders are doing. You know, our taxpayers' monies are going there. And in San Francisco, I was reading an article today that the amount of money that is being sent to Israel is somewhere around 40 million just from the taxpayer money in San Francisco, and that equates to something like 144 elementary school teachers that we could have had in our area. You know, much better than paying for bombs that is extinguishing lives in Gaza. And not only that, it's causing us Americans to have blood in our hands. You know, it's our moral conscience that's being affected by this too. So it's a tragedy at all ends. And the more people who come up and speak out, the more likely our politicians will be forced to stop this, because they are just following the orders of the billionaires who are contributing to the elections. And they should really be responsible and answerable to us. We are the constituents. They seem to forget that.
And in California, a lot of young people can't afford to go to college. If they go to college, they're in debt, there are homeless camps, people in tents here in Oakland. People can't get health care. There's no national health care. It seems that at the same time that the United States is supporting this genocide in Gaza and pogroms on the West Bank, they're attacking the working people here in this country.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, just driving here to the port, I was just amazed at seeing how many more homeless caravans there were, people living in tents, burnt out caravans. And this is the only superpower in the world. You know, we've got money to send billions for bombs to Israel while people live on the streets. And this is the home of the free, land of the brave, or something like that. But that's not what we see. People are not free here. We have elected people, and they are doing they're not following, you know, our interests. They're following the interests of corporations. When they talk about U.S. interests, what they actually mean is U.S. corporate interests, not the interests of U.S. citizens. So many U.S. citizens were stuck in Gaza during the bombing. You know, the U.S. were very quick to go and get Israeli Americans. They sent ships there to get them out of Israel. But all those Americans who were stuck in Gaza, no, they were told them, oh, just go to the Rafah crossing and we will be there. And many of them went there to the Rafah crossing, and there was nobody there. The gate was closed. And this was going on for so long, and there are still people there. And I was reading about this Palestinian American man who is in Korea now. He's in the military. He's an American citizen fighting with the American military in Korea, and his parents and his siblings are in Gaza, and his father apparently was killed in Gaza because of U.S. bombs. You know, look at the irony of that. You know, a man who's come here, has believed in the American dream, joined the military to save our shores apparently, and then a U.S. bomb kills his father. Meanwhile, his family is stuck in Gaza, and it's so difficult to get them out. And finally, actually, luckily at the end, there was a good part to this story in that the Americans finally found the motivation to go in there and get the rest of the family out. But that was after so many weeks and after losing the life of the father.
And the Democratic Party run San Francisco, run Oakland, run California. You have the Biden administration. Biden, it seems, is in favor of what's going on. He's sending more military equipment, didn't even ask Congress. And the Republicans as well are for continuing to fund Israel. You think this is a bipartisan war?
You know, when you talk about the Democratic Party, I would call it the hypocrisy party. They talk about democracy, but that's not what they've spread around the world. They bomb and murder people and turn them into terrorists. I mean, what would you do if somebody came and killed all your family members? You know, you'd become a terrorist too. And Israel, that's state terrorism. The U.S. has been terrorizing the Native Americans, has been terrorizing peoples in other countries. Wherever there's a democratic nation, we go and destroy them. You know, we had in Iran a democratically elected leader, Mossadegh, in those days, and it was Eisenhower, etc., who brought about his fall, and they installed the Shah, and now we have this theocratic nation there. So it's like whenever you look at history, it wasn't about democracy that the U.S. is interested in. It's about hegemony. It's about having nations that bow down to the orders from here, and they do the same with Europe too. So it's just it's not democracy. And in the case of what Biden did recently, he violated our Constitution. He should have followed Article 1 and got permission from the Congress before he went around bombed Yemen. He didn't do that. Some of the Congress people have screamed out that this is, you know, that he's violated the Constitution, but not a word from him. He doesn't seem to care. It's almost like, you know, the president is capable of going beyond the laws. And we know that there is nothing in the Constitution that allows the president to do such a thing. And the Supreme Court has not provided any of these powers to the president to be able to go and bomb another nation without permission. But the Department of Justice is not going to do anything about it because they presume that they will not bring down a sitting president, because then what would the country do? That's their argument. But basically, what does that mean? Does that mean that if the president were to kill somebody, that he can just get away with it? I mean, why do we, as democracy is supposed to be a system of laws, why are we not following our own laws?
Well, I think this is what the billionaires want. They're profiting from the war. Elon Musk, they're capitalists that are making a lot of money, war profiteers. It seems like there are people paying, the people of Palestine, Americans who are paying for this war, but the profiteers who benefit from this war are doing great.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of money for the military-industrial complex. You know, so much money is flowing in. Some of our senators even went and bought stocks in these companies so that they could profit from the carnage and the extinguishing of lives, because every bomb that goes off is millions of dollars, you know. I mean, the French military were shooting down the Houthi drones, and they were claiming that was like $1 million missiles to bring down these drones, these, you know, what, $50, $100 drones. And who profits from that? Those companies that manufacture those missiles, you know, so they are really happy. And we've got Lloyd Austin, who is Raytheon's ex-executive, who's now our Secretary of Defense. Talk about conflict of interest. You know, in the old days, it used to be that if there was a conflict of interest, the person would resign, you know, in shame. Not anymore. Nobody even brings up the word conflict of interest. I don't even see it in the newspapers, conflict of interest. What is that? You know, it's crazy. It's the world upside down here.
Oakland, make some noise!